Meanwhile, though, tomorrow, for the first time ever, an Israeli Prime Minister, that is a sitting one, will visit Australia. Benjamin Netanyahu will meet separately with Malcolm Turnbull and Bill Shorten. The Labor leader has said he will confront Netanyahu over Jewish settlements on the West Bank, and this decision is attracting more criticism since a decision to deem them legal by the Israeli Parliament. Well, joining me live now is Labor MP Michael Danby for more on this. Michael Danby, you've been a strong defender of Israel's state. What do you make of what Bill Shorten is pledging to do on this?
Oh, well, settlement's not the only issue, and Labor supports a two-state solution. We should be very happy that the Israelis dismantled. They sent 3,000 people to dismantle the illegal outpost at Amona. The Knesset has passed a silly law on adverse possession, which the Israeli Supreme Court will probably overturn in the next few weeks. And I wouldn't place any more importance on it than that. I think people are hyperventilating about this settlements issue. Israel is a small democratic country, a third the size of Tasmania, surrounded by Syria, where 500,000 people have been killed, surrounded by Daesh, the terrorist organisation that is terrifying the world, that is bringing its terrorism even to here in Australia. And I think our cooperation on technology and on security, as Greg Shorten, the foreign editor of The Australian, says today, will probably be as important topics as settlements.
Okay. You mentioned that Labor supports a two-state solution. What's being increasingly questioned is to what extent Israel does. Confirmation today from the US that there was this rejection of a regional peace process, that the option was that it would involve Jordan and Egypt, and crucially, this is what Israel want, recognition of Israel as a Jewish state. This was rejected by Benjamin Netanyahu. Doesn't the question have to be asked to what extent he's really entertaining a two-state solution at the moment?
Well, that conference in Eilat, or wherever it was to take place, the details of that aren't known. Whatever Mr Netanyahu's views are, I know the Labor Party would support there being discussions. I think what they're talking about is there's an Arab peace plan to recognise Israel, and that the Israelis should grasp that. I think there's been a lot of movement by the Sunni Arab regimes like Saudi Arabia and Jordan towards Israel, and if there is a chance for further discussions on that, they should be taken up. Tom, I have to say, by the way, I do feel a bit heartless appearing on this discussion about international affairs while these terrible events are happening in my own city. So I do want to make it clear to people that this was pre-arranged, and I feel very sorry for the terrible tragedy that's happened there.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. As you say, we arranged to talk about this previously, and I'm sure those people in Melbourne appreciate the thoughts there. Michael Danby, if I could ask you back on this topic, though, I mean, you said let's not worry too much about this decision from Israel, but this is a significant decision. Yes, the Supreme Court might overturn it, but the government is trying to shift the goalposts and making these settlements legal in retrospect. We can't ignore this, can we? This is a huge sign from Israel. It's very convenient to say, don't worry about that, the Supreme Court will overturn it. This is a real symbolic gesture.
Yeah, well, you have to see the other half of the picture. You know, you can't describe a boxing match with only one boxer. The Israelis sent 3,000 police to the illegal outpost at Amona to dismantle that settlement. And as a result of that, the majority in the Knesset voted to pass a law on adverse possession. That is foolish, because private property, even with it being abandoned for 40 years, shouldn't be seized by any state. And Israel is a democracy like Australia, a society of laws. We've had our laws here passed by Parliament, overruled by our High Court as well. And there's a balance of powers in all democracies which make them different to all of the surrounding states that Israel, a country, again I repeat to your listeners, I mean, it gets so much coverage you'd think it was the size of Russia. It's a third the size of Tasmania, surrounded by countries that would like to destroy it. And I think focusing on settlements, I think the average bloke in Bombala or Bundaberg, etc.
I don't have an auto cue,
cooperation with the Israelis
cool.
on security would be more of interest to them.
Michael Danby, Kevin Rudd made a significant intervention into this debate in recent days, calling for a recognition for Palestine and saying that his greatest fear was the disintegration of independent Palestine would fuel radicalisation in the region. What's your reaction to what Kevin Rudd had to say?
Well, I don't agree with Kevin Rudd. I think Kevin followed the 3 US presidents who offered a state alongside Israel, and
they didn't.
I'm sorry, I'm getting some interference here, Sam.
Sorry about that. We'll just get we'll just get our producer to remind everyone the mics are live at the moment. Do go on, Michael Danby.
Yeah, so Kevin did follow the fact that there were 3 peace offers to the Palestinians, and I think they ran away each time. I think the real problem is the fact that they should get back into direct negotiations with the Israelis, and then all in the international community, Kevin Rudd or Bill Shorten, can come in right behind both parties and support them talking to each other. We can't dictate where the borders will be from Australia, from the United Nations. It's got to be decided between the parties. Australia's always supported a 2-state solution. Australia was the first country to vote for the partition of the British Mandate in 1948. That was a just solution then. That'll be a just solution in the future.
But what's happening with this debate inside the Labor Party? I mean, we've had Bob Carr speaking out, Kevin Rudd speaking out. Do you think there's pressure on Bill Shorten to change the Labor Party's position on this in any way?
Look, I wouldn't accept the paradigm that's being set up by the tribune of all of these people, Mr Bramerton in The Australian. He's constantly trying to say that this is a, Victoria is isolated on all of these issues. In fact, the view is very much a New South Wales view that he's putting. I think that people are concerned with other issues. I think Penny Wong's put the position in a very balanced way. I don't think we should hyperventilate about this issue. There are more important issues of foreign policy. I might say to all of the heroes who are beating up on a country, a democratic country, where there are gay pride parades, there aren't any in the surrounding countries, or Christmas celebrations, there aren't any in the surrounding countries. Why don't they beat up on China when the Chinese president comes to Australia? The oppression of the Tibetans or the Uyghurs is far worse than what's happening to the Palestinians when some Israelis build houses, 20 metres or 100 metres or a mile across the Green Line. There are no reporters in Tibet. Where is Bob Carr, Gareth Evans and Bob Hawke when the terrible things that are happening in Tibet are discussed? They never raise their heads. They never raise their heads to power. They want to try and provoke the Israeli Prime Minister and upset relations between him and the Labor Party prior to Netanyahu's visit. Netanyahu's visit to Australia is a very good sign that Australia and Israel, 2 mature democracies, are having more to do with each other economically, more to do with each other technologically, and more to do with each other on the safety of Australians, which, as I said before, is more of interest to people in Bundaberg, Bombala and Mount Lawley than whether some Orthodox Israeli couple are building houses across the Green Line. We need cooperation with Israel to make sure that Islamist terrorists that they know about don't come to Australia and do what they've done in Parramatta and Endeavour Hills. And I'd say that to Bob Carr and his coterie of people. Be concerned with what the Australian people are concerned with.
I've got it. Sorry, Michael Danby, I do have to cut it short there, but thank you for your time this morning on Sky News.